Today is the day that we lock back in. Let's go.
The day that I'm filming this, probably not the day that I'm posting this, is a Wednesday, which means it is the perfect day to get back on track because everyone always waits for Monday. When you see Monday as like a good restart day, it becomes so much easier to fall off track because you always think like you get to Tuesday and you fall off track and you're like, oh, I'll just start again on Monday. But when you don't let yourself see certain days as like default restart days, you realize you can start over literally right now. You don't need to wait around for the right day, the right time, the right anything. You can just do it. So today, random Wednesday, we're just doing it. You might be wondering, how many times can Marissa start over in 2 years and keep falling off track? Well, you know what? I'm wondering that too. But here's the thing, living with a chronic health issue that you are trying to heal is exhausting. And sometimes that means stopping everything else that you're doing and just focusing on that. And that's just what I'm doing. But hey, one cannot say that I don't keep getting back on the wagon as soon as the wagon is ready to go. And right now, the wagon is ready to go. My skin has been doing so much better the last like month. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Hopefully I'm in a more permanently stable, happier place. I still have a little ways to go, some things to work on, but like as a whole, I haven't been feeling nearly as physically and mentally drained due to having to focus all of my time and energy on healing my skin. And so that has given me so much more space to lock back in to my actual like bigger life goals, fitness goals, health goals, etc. So today I'm taking you through my 5-step process of how to lock in. And this is gonna be just in time for summer. I mean, I guess summer is like kind of basically upon us, but if you've been wanting to lock in for summer, you can use these steps for yourself. Okay, first and foremost, if you're gonna lock in, you gotta know why you're locking in. Also, apologies in advance, I'm going to overuse the term lock in this video so much that no one is ever gonna wanna use that phrase again, but it is what it is. Deal with it. But you gotta know your why. You gotta know your goals, or else what the heck are you locking into anyway? So step 1 is set your goals. Ideally, I would make them SMART goals. So what is that? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Personally, because I am dealing with chronic health issues and who knows what's gonna happen in the next few months, I don't wanna put a specific time limit on myself because I don't wanna force myself to push through anything that my body doesn't want me pushing through. So I'm getting rid of that, but if you don't have a very, very reasonable excuse to not put a time limit on your goals, highly recommend. My goal with doing this, honestly, is less about fitness, more about like overall life structure. I want to have more time in my day. And this is very relevant to fitness because I think that's how I need to achieve that. Or at least it's one thing among others. I want to be able to dedicate a certain amount of time to work, a certain amount of time to social time, and a certain amount of time to me time, creative time, time for hobbies, time for just like the good stuff in life. So I'm gonna sit down, map that out, and then I think secondary goal, also primary goal, no, still primary goal. 2 primary goals. 1, more time. 2 is actually get in better shape. I have been extremely inconsistent with my training for the last couple years now, and that is finally starting to show up in my physique a little bit. I'm still very happy with my current physique. It's fluctuated a lot in the last couple months, but I think that's been more due to the various things I've been doing to heal my skin. Like I went through a phase where I was like pretty darn bloated and retaining a lot of water, and so I looked very different, but it wasn't like fat loss, muscle loss, but it wasn't like fat gain, muscle loss. It was just my body healing and going through the stages of doing so. But at this point, I've definitely noticed a loss of muscle mass in my legs. I think since I've been doing yoga like relatively consistently for the last 6 months or so, I've maintained a lot of like upper body muscle and definition, but my legs are just not getting the work required to maintain the muscle that I've had. And that makes me sad because I liked the amount of muscle that I had, particularly in my glutes, and now it is slowly shrinking. So I guess that's kind of my main physique goal, aesthetic goal, would be to rebuild some muscle in my legs, and then beyond physique, just fitness wise, rebuild strength in my legs, because the amount of muscle that you have on your body is very strongly correlated with longevity and essentially like how healthy you stay throughout your lifespan. And as you guys know, staying healthy for as long as possible is my like ultimate goal in life, and having muscle mass is very key for that. So that's kind of it. And I guess I also really want to just feel mentally more dialed in, more locked in, more mental clarity, more focus, more motivation, and all of that. But I think that's going to come along with the things that I plan on doing to achieve those first 2 goals. But I guess it's also important to just note that as a goal, but it's just less specific and measurable. Let me know down in the comments what your guys' goals are for the next 3 months or 6 months, whatever timeline makes the most sense for you. Alrighty, we have the why, now we need the how. And this is why the why is so critical. The how, so much easier when you actually know what you're trying to achieve, rather than just saying like, I wanna get more fit, because that could mean so many different things. So for me personally, when it comes to my first goal of just having more time to do the things that I want to do, I find that I can find so much more time in my day, or I have the mental capacity for more time in my day when I'm working out regularly. If I have a planned time in my day that I'm gonna go work out, first of all, that adds more structure to my day because I work for myself. I can kind of just do whatever, whenever, and that can be kind of difficult to manage sometimes because you kind of just do whatever, whenever. So adding in like very scheduled, regimented things just really helps me personally build structure around my day, and that gives me what feels like more time in my day. And obviously there are other things that I could build structure around. It doesn't have to be the gym, but when I am working out regularly, I do have a boost in mental clarity, a boost in motivation, a boost in, you know, all of the feel-good hormones and chemicals that come with working out regularly. And so that in itself makes me feel like I have more time in my day because I can focus so much better on the things that I'm doing. I'm actually just so much more productive. So I guess my goal technically is not literally more time in the day because there's only 24 hours in a day. It's to increase productivity and structure. So I want to set a goal for myself of actively training 5 days a week. I am trying to do my morning run to get coffee every day, and I'd kind of like to stick with run a mile every single morning. I don't want to necessarily hold myself to like every single morning because that feels a little bit rigid and inflexible and just not sustainable long term, but I think that's a loose goal. Maybe I should set a goal of run 5 miles a week. Try to run every day. Run 5 to 7 miles a week. There we go. That's the goal. So we're running 5 to 7 miles a week. We're working out 5 days a week. I want my workouts to consist of lifting to support my second goal of rebuilding my lower body muscle. And because I don't really want to build any more upper body muscle, like I'm happy with what I got going on up here, I'm not going to train upper body. Why did I pick up this pen? I'm just going to train lower body. So that means I max out at like 3 days a week lifting. And I have been loving yoga. It's been feeling so, so good for my body. It also, I think, is helping me just enjoy the journey a little bit more. Like it makes everything feels super sustainable for me right now, and so I want to leave that in. So I'm going to aim for alternating between yoga and lower body resistance training. I'm gonna write myself a workout program that's gonna be lower body focus, obviously, with emphasis on the glutes and the hamstrings, because that is where I have lost the most muscle and where I would like to gain the most muscle. And then I also like to use my overall fitness routine, not just workouts, but kind of all of it, to add more structure to my day and get more time and just feel more like aligned and on track with all of the things that I want to do in life. And so a big part of that is having a more consistent bedtime and wake time. When I've been in that very set bedtime routine, I feel so much better. I feel like I have so much more time in my day, mostly because I don't procrastinate at night and spend an hour scrolling or doing like other tasks that like don't really need to get done urgently, and then I don't end up like sleeping in an extra hour or two and then waking up feeling slightly off because I'm out of my sleep routine, and so I just want to scroll first thing in the morning instead of actually getting up and doing stuff, and so I lose a couple hours doing that. So consistent bedtime gonna be huge, and then putting more thought and effort into meal prepping. This is something I've been pretty decent about lately, but I've been bouncing back and forth between home in LA and my parents' house in San Diego, and that kind of disrupts my routine a lot. That probably means I should set aside a specific day of the week to sit down and look at my schedule, look at my food, do an assessment, and decide what I want to meal prep for the week. And that is going to add more time to my week, save me money, which is great, tertiary goal. And with putting more intention into my nutrition, it'll be easier to prioritize protein and all the things that are helpful in building lower body muscle and just getting back in shape. So I think those are gonna be the biggest needle movers for me when it comes to reaching my goals. And I think the plan is just to start there. And then if I, get on track with all that, I'm doing great, I have momentum, I feel good, I feel locked in to my old returning habits and routines, then I might start sprinkling in more things. But I think starting with the foundation, the things that are gonna make the biggest difference, that don't take as much like mental or physical effort as maybe some other things that I could be adding in, that's the best place to start. Next up on the game plan is to do a little assessment of where I'm currently at. So things that I'm already doing, things that I'm already locked in on, things that I already have that are going to help me get to my goals. So whether that be equipment, strategies, habits, etc. But then also taking a look at things that tend to get in my way. So just looking ahead at potential roadblocks and then taking that into account and considering what like rules, structure, etc. I can apply to help me avoid or navigate said roadblocks. So things that I kind of already have. Number one is I've still managed to be pretty consistent with yoga. I really haven't taken more than like a week or week and a half off of yoga, and that has been pretty infrequent. So that's great. I can build on that habit. Also pretty darn locked in with all of my skin stuff. So making sure I am staying hydrated AF, making sure to add my element electrolytes to my hydration to maximize the hydrating ability of my water, and also just to make sure I'm getting in high quality minerals. This is something that I've really been kind of learning in this skin journey that I'm on, is not only are electrolytes great for hydration, but minerals are just so key for all of our bodily functions and stress in pretty much any capacity. So not just like mental stress, work stress, but like physical health stress, exercise stress, like anything that is even a good stressor on the body depletes minerals. And so if you are working through a health issue, making sure you have adequate mineral intake can make a huge difference. I'm actually about to do a hair tissue mineral analysis. That's what it's called? HTMA, hair tissue mineral analysis? Yeah, to test my current mineral level, because that can make a huge difference with how I continue to approach healing my skin, healing whatever is going on in my body. But minerals have been something that have been emphasized by pretty much all of the functional practitioners that I have spoken with, worked with, etc. Mineral deficiency and imbalance can cause all sorts of issues, but some main symptoms are like headaches, cramps, fatigue, brain fog, weakness, and particularly like I have worked with a couple clients now where their workouts just like weren't feeling great. So I was like, try adding electrolytes. And pretty much all of them, as soon as they did that, they were like, oh my God, I feel a world of difference. And so that's a great way to test out if you are imbalanced or deficient in electrolytes and minerals, is try it. see how you feel. And most people that I've worked with have noticed a huge difference in their workout capacity specifically, so that's just a key that you could pay attention to if you want to give it a try. And if you do want a great electrolyte supplement that has none of the junk, none of the fillers, none of the sugar, food dye, other artificial ingredients that you don't want in your body, and just has like the key stuff that your body needs, highly recommend checking out Element. Their unflavored one is literally just salt, magnesium, and potassium in the scientifically backed ratios: 1,000 milligrams sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, 60 milligrams of magnesium. Their flavored ones are also delicious if you find that adding some flavor to your water helps you drink more water. They did just come out with a lemonade salt flavor for summer, so if you're looking for those summer vibes in the deliciousness of your beverage while balancing your electrolytes, maintaining your good electrolyte balance while you're probably sweating a little bit more because of summer, and getting in all the summer activities like hiking, beach days, etc. And I highly recommend checking that one out. But either way, if you guys want to get a free 8-count pack of Element's most popular flavors with any purchase, then you can go to drinklmnt.com/fitandnerdy. I'll leave a link down in the description box below. The sample pack will help you find your favorite flavor, or you can share it with a friend. Go check it out. Lock in on your hydration with me. So yoga, hydration, I have been more consistent with running lately, which has been great. I've been more consistent with meal prepping, which has also been great. So these are habits that I can kind of use as a foundation, as a starting point that I can habit stack on top of. And then as far as things that I have a home gym. I really can and should be using it. I also currently have things in my fridge that I can use to meal prep with. Some things that I know tend to get in my way are a lack of set schedule. If I don't have a set schedule for myself, it's very easy for me to like go down the rabbit hole of like one thing work-wise and then just kind of forget about everything else for the rest of the day. What also might get in the way of doing at-home workouts is the heat currently. So I think actually sticking with my bedtime routine and being able to get up earlier is going to help, so that I can get outside and get my workout in before it gets too hot if I am gonna work out here. If not, I do have a gym membership. I can go work out at a gym. But things like that are just really helpful to note about yourself so that you can then plan around that. So what that might look like for me is, number one, setting like a rule, guideline, goal of making sure to actually schedule out my week. Like pick one specific day of the week where I schedule out my week, all the things that I know that I want to do that week, need to do that week, create to-do lists so that I have just more structure. And then last thing I'll mention is it's been really helpful in the past for me to set a rule of no scrolling on social media if there's still stuff on my to-do list. It just kills my momentum and my focus and my mental clarity. I mean, you guys know the internet's a great place. When it comes to rebuilding these habits, reshaping my life, locking back in, I'm not starting at 100, I'm starting at like 10, because today's the day that I lock in. I'm doing a lower body workout. I did yoga yesterday, so today is lower body day, but I'm literally gonna start with like 2 sets of 3 exercises, lightweight, because I haven't lifted in a hot minute, and that's gonna be enough for my body. Like, I just did 1 set of 10 goblet squats, and my quads, they were feeling it. So I don't need to do more than that. The main goal now is just rebuild the habit, schedule it into my day so that I can slowly ramp up. Like, I'm not aiming to be able to squat a certain amount of weight every single week. I'm just aiming to squat every week. And if that means like a 20-pound kettlebell goblet squat, that's still doing it, and that is still accomplishing what I want to accomplish. Next step for me is to create an actual routine. Like I said, I thrive on more structure because I don't have a lot of structure inherently built in to my life, so I need to create that for myself. So as I eat my sweet green, what did I get, steak pesto bowl thing, I'm gonna sit down and actually plan out like every half hour of my daily routine. I've done this multiple times when I've like changed routines or wanted to kind of change my fitness routine. Like during the summer, I love adding cold plunging in the morning. During the winter, not so much. So I change my schedule every now and again. So I'm just gonna go through that process again and optimize my day for these goals that I have. And I'm also, as I do that, gonna take a look at the current routine that I have or habits that I have in place that might not be serving me as much. Like, I do like to cold plunge in the summer, but is that actually helping me really at all towards my goals? Not so much. It's kind of a fun, nice thing to do that I can get some benefits from. But if I want and need more time in my day, it's definitely not the biggest needle mover for that or for my
aesthetic/fitness goals. So that'll be the day, and then I also want to sit down and think about the week as a whole. So like, what day am I scheduling my workouts? What day am I going grocery shopping? What day am I meal prepping? Basically, the more that's planned out, the fewer decisions I need to make day to day, and the more mental space I will have to do the other things that I want to do.
And last but not least, we take everything that we have learned in our day of locking in and synthesize and use that to plan. So I've figured out my point A, my starting point, where I'm currently at, my roadblocks, etc. I've figured out my point B, my goals. I've figured out the way to get from point A to point B. And all that's left now is to prep and plan for that journey. So I'm just gonna take a minute, see if there's anything that I need. I know that I need to reorder some supplements. I guess that is more for like my skin health journey, but honestly, that's like big primary goal, overarching everything. I'm also gonna take some time now to think about meal prep. I'm gonna do some inventory in my kitchen, see what I have, see what I wanna prep for this week, plan for next week when I go to San Diego, and see if I wanna bring anything down versus just grocery shop when I get there. And then just look ahead at my schedule for the week and next week and plan all of the things. Just build in that structure into my calendar that I know really supports me in working towards these goals. And that will be it. And then I'm officially locked in. Oh, I also need to, since I did resistance training today, book my yoga class for tomorrow. Can't forget that. Then that'll be it. I'm really excited to be back in this place where I feel like I can step into this journey yet again, get back on track yet again. I say it that way. Personally, I feel like I've never actually been off track. I have just been doing exactly what my body needed and supporting my body in the best way possible on this healing journey, and sometimes that means actively stepping away from training consistently. So while I would like to have been able to have been consistent with my training for the last few years, I don't personally feel like I failed kind of in any capacity. I'm sure there's been a couple times where like maybe I took off a little bit more time than I needed to, but I've never stopped training because I fell off the wagon. I always stopped training because I intentionally stepped off the wagon to do a little side quest to support my skin, and then I walked right back onto the wagon as soon as I could. And so there has been a lot of fluctuation in my journey, in my fitness routine, in my training, etc. But it's all come from a place of serving my healthiest self. But that said, very excited to be trying to get back on track with exercising regularly, because it really does make me feel really good. And I'm also just excited to health-wise be in a place where I feel like it is going to be beneficial for my body and mind at this time. Fingers crossed it stays that way. Let me know down in the comments if you plan on locking in with me or whatever your health, fitness, etc. goals are. In the meantime, if you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. It really does support me and my channel. I really genuinely appreciate it. Please share this video with your friends, your family, your gym buddies. Make sure you check out Element at drinkelement.com/fitandnerdy. You can check out more of my videos about health and fitness over here. To see future videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you get notified when I post a video, and I will see you very soon. Bye!